You're listening to Experience Imagination, a themed entertainment design podcast presented by Falcon's Creative Group. Every episode, we discuss a new topic with a panel of creative professionals. Hi, I'm Cecil McPurry, President and Chief Creative Officer of Falcons.
Hi everyone, this is Abhinav Narayan, the moderator for the episode. We'll be joined by Cecil in just a minute, as well as two other special guests who will talk to us about Falcons licensing, one of three branches that make up the Falcons Creative Group umbrella. This discussion is really to help us start talking about attractions and how they come into being, and it's a jumping off point for us to start talking more about the specific products Falcons has developed as part of Falcons licensing and implemented around the world. Let's go ahead and do introductions, starting with Cecil.
Sure, I'm Cecil McPurry. I'm the Chief Creative Officer here at Falcons Creative Group.
David.
Hi, I'm David Schaefer, Vice President at Falcons Creative Group.
And Daryl.
And I am Daryl White, Vice President of Global Licensing and Business Development here at Falcons.
Okay, well, we're here to talk about Falcons licensing, and in order to get kind of an introduction into what that branch of the company is, Cecil, do you want to give us the story behind how Falcons licensing came about?
When we were in the marketing rebranding effort, some of the branding leadership was asking me, what things do you want to be implemented in the company? Well, I said, I had a surfwear line when I was growing up, and it was
cool.
Tasty Attire surfwear.
Tasty Attire, nice.
Yeah, Tasty Waist.
You didn't bring any of us that tasty
Well,
attire in the office, Cecil,
I have a
come
box
on.
of 50 shirts still. But it was very lucrative, when you're in college, and, I was surfing a lot. But I always thought, man, wouldn't it be cool to have Falcons clothing? It's such a cool brand, the logo's cool. Start developing clothing lines, and that could take off, So I was just ideating of where the company can offer things. I wanted to create my own chess set where we could create our own creatures. I want to work with Pat and all the artists here. We can create, I wanted to buy the Lord of the Rings chess set, but it cost $3,950. I'm going, ding, wait a minute. We might be able to create our own characters in the future, and we could sell chess sets, So
That's so cool.
Then people were saying, and that's when I think it was, I forget who it was, who said, that's really more like licensing. You could sell, the famous architects were selling, Michael Graves was selling teapots at Target, There could be an opportunity when you have enough of a brand that all of a sudden these consumer product line.
Yeah.
So that's kind of one of the reasons also licensing was kind of elevated. It was from a conversation saying, gosh, I might want to do clothing, surfwear.
It's really unlimited
sets,
what can go into there.
So, but the category made sense. Falcon's Treehouse is obviously known for 15 years back then for design and project management and realizing experiences.
Providing service,
Service-driven. And Falcon's digital media stemmed from creating the content for those attractions. But all these other categories of circummotion attraction, chess sets, clothesline, where would that go? It made sense under licensing. And so we matured that in offering these type of experiences prior to being hired. Instead of a work-for-hire scenario, we actually developed these experiences bespoke and offered them as opportunities to purchase. And so that probably made more sense to be under the licensing umbrella.
Let's talk a little bit about what you think the need is that Falcons licensing satisfies. David?
The term licensing kind of offered us the flexibility and freedom to offer products that are beyond just attractions or just media. We now are developing custom interactives or various touch points and things like that. So I think the term Falcons licensing gave us, as Cecil was saying, that category to kind of have the freedom to develop these bespoke experiences in many different ways. But I think there was a need for that type of thing in the industry because, that there's a lot of great suppliers out there that specialized in, a lot of different components. You have great ride manufacturers that have really honed in on the engineering and the visceral ride experience. And you have, some incredible AV integrators that can do, interactives and things like that. But it's really, the trend in the industry towards these immersive, multi-faceted attractions is where developers have been going. And so to create those, it takes a team of specialists. There isn't, one company that does it all. Right. But under the Falcon's licensing brand, we can offer those turnkey type immersive attractions that bring together those various groups. And so I think that's something unique that Falcon's licensing brought that, a traditional ride manufacturer or traditional theater designer would not be able to provide. So in some respects, some of what we do at Falcon's licensing is integration, but also there's that R&D side of things, of developing new ideas and new concepts that is really fun. And I mean, that's a side of it that, we involve our whole company that, is a lot of fun.
Having those different voices all together in the same room right from the conception of an idea.
Yeah.
And one other key element, I think, following David, is that, there's a lot of developers, theme park owners, and other types of owner-operators of these different facilities that, they want to have a type attraction, an e-ticket attraction. And, traditionally those types of attractions were reserved for, extremely deep pockets to be able to put together some type of, incredible media-based attraction. We've actually gone to the lengths to combine these things, all the different aspects like the AV development and the ride system development. We've gone through the process of looking through patents and things like that, developing our own patents for these products. And in some cases developing custom media, which we then are in turn able to license out. So we're able to provide, basically a full turnkey solution for someone that might not normally be able to do, have such
because they don't have a in-house creative resource that would look at their master plan of their either existing park or their new development and come up with a vision and let the technology kind of follow. Let the product mature by custom design or master plan. Right. So they don't have the luxury of having that as some of the larger studios have. And so we offer basically that type of creative process and prowess to ideate.
It's integrated from the beginning.
Yeah. And it's not a burden on those developers or park owners who are purchasing the product. That is already part of our product. They're not burdened with that kind of overhead aspect of it, and they get an experience that is, comparable in intensity and immersion. Yeah. So it's a nice offering.
I want to talk a little bit about the R&D process that was brought up earlier. Where do ideas for these kind of bespoke products, where do they come from? Where do they originate?
That's a good question. I think it's part of what we do as even a service driven from Falcon's Treehouse. We master plan and design attractions. And oftentimes we, get exposed to existing parks that are looking for diversity in product mix. And so that metrics of understanding kind of the goal of a developer and their needs as far as offerings, it starts to expose us to all these different categories of experiences that, and maybe new ones that haven't been invented yet. And so we have worked hard at looking at appropriate IPs to apply to LBEs, and now we have that as an offering. So these are things that are almost by necessity. There is a need,
There's
right?
Already
Supply and
demand
drives some of the vision. So I think that's how some of the ideation comes into play.
It just comes naturally because there is a space that suddenly needs to be filled.
Right.
And I think a lot of that, the only way that we're able to fulfill that is through a commitment to this R&D process. And Cecil and the team here has made a commitment to doing that. So there's constant R&D going on. We're looking at all these different ways to approach problems or to approach opportunities, if you want to call them that. And there's so much cool stuff that comes out of it. We're looking forward to showcasing some of these things in the near future. But a lot of the projects that you've seen come through the past, like the Circumotion, I mean, that was through a lot of ideation, experimentation, modeling. And just followed by good planning to make it come together.
I think a lot of exciting immersive attractions out there is kind of about layering the experience too. It's beginning with a story and a foundation of place and characters and all that, and you start to layer on these different elements of the ride system and maybe it's media and the audio and all these different elements. And what we're seeing more and more, as just the world around us, technology continues to advance. So often we find, whether it's on Reddit or a news article or something, new technologies that are maybe not applied to the entertainment industry at all, that are maybe developed for something else. But I think our team is very
crossover.
Yeah, is very keen on kind of finding those and saying, gosh, hey, they figured out how to do this and this, but they're using it in a completely different way. How could we, maybe bring that into entertainment type experience, and now all of a sudden that enriches a guest experience, So I think there's a lot of that kind of cross pollination and layering of different things. And it sounds cliche, but oftentimes it's one of those things where it's like 1 + 1 = 3. You've married two existing things together, and all of a sudden you've got something totally new.
Yeah.
And so I think we've had several projects in the past that have kind of fallen into that category.
How do you know when you have something? Like when is the eureka moment, I guess? Is it right when you have the idea, or is it you get the inklings of an idea, or you identify a need, you start to experiment, maybe then you find the cross-pollination between something that currently exists in a different form, and you start to see the wires click,
I think does
it vary?
It's variable. I mean, it's both. It's all of the above.
Yeah.
There are times, like some of our earlier immersive experiences, came up with a vision and idea, thought, my gosh, this is amazing.
Right.
As a consumer, we invent it, but then we role play in our own heads. How would it be as a consumer?
Yeah.
And we're blown away with that idea of how it would be realized in our own mind's eye. And it's a home run. And in some cases, like Circumotion, created that so early on that even the technology wasn't really up to speed yet. Film projectors were being used in the marketplace at the time that was invented. So digital projectors added convenience to pull off the experience. Some of it was a little ahead of its time, and technology caught up. And so that's part of the process as well. So it matured. And there are times that, wow, it's kind of a starting point of a good idea, but then we do, like Daryl was saying, we start to do due diligence, start to poke holes at it, and then it matures through the design process. Then it becomes the eureka moment.
Yeah.
Wow, this is amazing. We've vetted it through our own process, and it's really strong. And a lot of our newer products that are coming into the marketplace, like David was saying, we're knowledgeable a lot about technology and how to ad hoc and be innovative with those technologies. There's some new products that we're really excited about revealing here soon.
Awesome. Daryl?
Even in the same conversation or in the same design review meeting, going back and forth and looking at it from a technical or producer's standpoint, and then immediately flipping around and seeing what is the guest going to see from this.
Yeah.
So, for example, we've developed this suspended theater product, and one of the key things that we looked at when developing this was, how do we make sure that the guest always maintains that magic? How is the guest point of view always going to be that they don't see all the machinery and all this kind of stuff? So we developed a suspended theater with that directly in mind, that the guest always is in this suspended state of disbelief where they're in a room and all of a sudden they're flying. They don't see all this machinery and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, the gag is not forecasted. Current technologies out there kind of reveal the experience ahead of time. So one of the things that I think we're proud of with our product is it has a reveal, and we tailor expectations. So just like most experiences that we encounter as consumers, it's when it's over-delivered to your own expectation is when it's been most successful. And so we built that in our design. You come into the suspended theater thinking it's a traditional 4D theater, immersed in rich content that is content edge to edge in the room, which already delivers an immersive experience. You're satisfied already. And then 10 feet per second, you're flying into the air. Unbeknownst to you, you're floating, feet dangling in front of 3D dome content. So that was revealed to you within seconds. So that's the kind of stuff we continue to think about. It's not just a technology for technology's sake. It's really thought through of how the guest embraces or gets exposed to that technology. We want the technology to be ubiquitous, right? Transparent to the consumer, and it's really about storytelling. So that's kind of the foundation of how we treat all our experiences, is really how does it elevate the story?
Yeah, the guest experience. I know that you can't talk about some of the specific things that are coming up anytime soon, but I guess in general, I'm curious to know what you are all interested in seeing develop in kind of the world of licensing, product development, and attractions in this industry in the future. What's kind of got you most excited these days?
I think in general, we're seeing it in all aspects of life, just the social media and the speed at connected experience, the speed at which data and experiences are shared and consumed is evolving so rapidly. So we're seeing and we're also involved in developing experiences that maybe they're more interactive or they're more personalized. There's so many things that play there where you want the guests to come back and ride again. You want to challenge them. You want them to share the experience and be excited about telling their friends about it. And so kind of playing into those same social trends that we're seeing just in everyday life, pulling those into attractions is something that we're working on. And
I think the industry in general are starting to kind of gravitate to understanding that challenge. Yeah. I think we're excited about introducing new technology that allows consumers to have agency. I think that's really the biggest thing that we are now implementing, excited to share in the future here, near future, some of the things that we're developing that embraces all our existing technologies but takes it to the next level.
Yeah. Daryl?
One thing I'd like to add to that is, just highlighting that we're not bringing technology necessarily to the forefront. We're not putting technology out there for technology's sake. Everything is about the guest experience and enhancing the story. Whatever technology is available or whatever technology we have to develop is only there to enhance the experience. Mm-hmm. And if at all possible, we actually try to hide that. We want to make that invisible so that the guest is having a true experience without hindrance from outside, interference and things like that.
I want to know what have been some of the most kind of meaningful, memorable moments of the licensing journey so far. What have been some of the best lessons or best accomplishments?
For me, it was really exciting when we were chasing SeaWorld to develop a new theater for them, and ultimately they totally embraced our Spheron product. We had developed it as part of Dragon's Treasure, obviously at a much larger scale, and then we had taken it a step further and actually scaled it down to more of a small mobile version. And ultimately, once they experienced that, the light bulb went off and they got it and they totally trusted us. And ultimately that led to the development of Turtle Trek, which features the Falcon's licensing Spheron product. And it was a project that I was heavily involved in and really proud of on opening day.
We took the Dragon's Treasure 2D largest projection dome in the world and created a 3D version. And that's one that they really embraced after seeing the smaller the traveling nanospheron version. They saw how that storytelling component could be, basically the screen goes away and the 3D allows you to look immersively throughout the whole content. And the storyline was about the journey of a turtle from birth to coming back and giving birth. Yeah. And that journey as kind of with no narrative, no narration at all, visually was a spectacular experience. And they embraced this product and it was refreshing to have that,
Daryl?
Yeah, and for me, I mean, I have to say without a doubt, Circumotion going into IMG Worlds of Adventure was just incredible.
And with Marvel
with
Comics
the Marvel
IP, right?
Hulk IP in there, it's amazing. A lot of my background and certainly my hobby is in racing cars, and one of the fun things I like, I'm driving 240 miles an hour, I'm still feeling acceleration even as I'm going that fast.
Yeah.
And there's no other attraction that exists that can provide constant acceleration. If you go on a roller coaster, you get acceleration, some G-forces for a second or a couple seconds. If you go on some other types of attractions, you might get that for a little bit. Because we can synchronize the media spinning with the Circumotion, you get that centrifugal force. We can provide constant G-force on your body. So you feel like you're just constantly accelerating, and it's just amazing. I mean, it's such a fun ride.
The capabilities of that product is exciting. And to have Hulk literally grab the Iris vehicle
yeah.
And throw it
fling
around.
you and
Oh,
spin
it's so
it. It's
fun.
awesome.
It's such a fun ride.
It is. He flings us into safety, into Epsilon base, and we slide in. But when we were programming it, we thought we knew the capabilities of our own product. But after synchronizing it
Yeah.
in the content and feeling the G's, it was a magical moment.
Yeah.
So definitely spectacular. It just makes me want to continue to take advantage of its capabilities from a creative standpoint. And
push the envelope,
Push
yeah.
the envelope.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's definitely a good.
Definitely my favorite.
Good one.
Gotta make my way to Dubai at some point.
Yeah.
Well, this has been a very interesting conversation, and it's been a really great opportunity to kind of learn about the Falcon's licensing branch as a whole. We are planning on doing a couple more specific episodes in kind of a Falcon's licensing series that touch upon the stories and journeys of some of the more specific products that we've briefly touched upon in this conversation. So look forward to that, and thank you guys so much for joining.
You bet.
Thank you.
Expect to hear more about Falcon's licensing in the future. Until then, we want to remind you that you can shoot us an email at podcast@falconscreativegroup.com. We always love hearing from you. We always love getting your emails. We just got a great email this morning that we responded to. We try and make sure that we respond to every email that we get. So please shoot us your thoughts, shoot us your questions. We'd love to hear from you. One additional announcement before we leave. If you or anyone you know is a fan of the Halo video game franchise, Outpost Discovery is a touring exhibition that is making its way around the country right now. Falcon's Creative Group was honored to be a part of several experiences that you'll find there. So again, for those of you who are fans of the Halo franchise, pay a visit to outpostdiscovery.com to see if it's coming to a city near you and buy your tickets today. Thanks, we'll see you in the next episode.
This has been Experience Imagination. For more information about this episode's discussion, be sure to visit our blog at falconscreativegroup.com. And don't forget to follow Falcons Creative Group on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram.